We're going to move on with a look through the international newspapers, their top stories of the day with Flo Villamino. Hi there.
Hi, Kat.
And you're going to start us off over on the other side of the Atlantic. The US vice presidential debate taking place overnight for us here in Paris.
That's right. The only vice presidential debate of this election season. It was supposed to be the battle of the nice guys. That's what the Daily Beast says. But Mike Pence and Tim Kaine got nasty about taxes, and particularly Donald Trump's failure to release his tax returns. I must admit, I love the title of this article. I think it sums up what a lot of people think about these kind of vice presidential debates. They're calling it vanilla. Now, if you're unfamiliar with that term, it's a slang term that means normal, conventional, and quite boring.
All right, and the paper's not particularly excited about this debate, however. But there were warnings that it might be dull.
That's right. The Washington Post, before the debate happened, actually interviewed previous moderators for similar debates. And they said, you can see it here, that Mike Pence and Tim Kaine are basically the same person. Now, their politics, of course, are not the same, but their political careers and their styles and indeed their personalities are quite similar. Now, while last week's presidential debate was a study in contrasts between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, you would be forgiven for seeing double after the vice presidential candidate debate. Now, one person was very excited about this debate, and that is the U.S. Republican candidate, Donald Trump. He actually promised his followers to live tweet the whole debate, and he was very active on Twitter. He was rooting for his horse. You can read all about it in Fox News. They have a good summary of his Twitter storm. Now, he mainly retweeted his supporters, including one retweet that's raising some eyebrows. You can see it here in this title of this article. One of his Twitter followers said that Mike Cain looks like an evil crook out of the Batman movie. Well, Donald Trump was quick to retweet that. And his final tweet actually was the most retweeted post according to Twitter's own analytics. And it was, well, guess what? That his candidate won the debate.
I'm sure that's his analysis. Let's move away, though, from US politics to news coming out of Syria that we've been reporting in our main news update about tensions between Russia and the United States that are rising. They're such key players in what's going on inside Syria, of
That's
course.
right. And remember that this week the U.S. said it was suspending ties with Russia regarding the situation in Syria. There's an interesting analysis piece in Asafir, that's a Lebanese paper. Must be said it's pro-Iranian. It says that essentially the U.S. is kind of losing its advantage in Syria. Russia is definitely taking the advantage on the ground. The U.S. has kind of missed the bus. For instance, the the American-Turkish plan to enforce a no-fly zone in northern Syria. We don't really talk about that anymore. Now, a lot of that does have to do with U.S. politics. Of course, we're in a campaign season, which means that not that much can actually get done in terms of strategy. There's an interesting cartoon in Al-Had, that's a Jordanian paper, which is critical of the U.S. President Barack Obama. You can see him here. He's leaving the White House. He has his little suitcase here. He's leaving the situation. He's leaving this very bloody situation on the ground in Syria. You can see they're talking about the daily lives of Syrians here, and you can see in the background there that Russian plane dropping a bomb.
All right. Other papers say that there is a collective responsibility for what's happening in Syria, and particularly what's happening in Aleppo.
That's right. There's a very interesting piece I recommend today in Courrier International. It originally appeared in the Lebanese paper L'Orient le Jour. They're talking about this collective failure. Now, a lot of the blame, of course, is on the Bashar al-Assad regime, but also in the Syrian opposition, which hasn't managed to get itself together. Also the U.S., but lots of criticism for the United Nations as well. It seems like everyone is reassured by their powerlessness here. The article also blames regional powers, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey. They're all pushing forward their own agenda in Syria. The article says that today in Aleppo, we're writing the history of a country that no longer exists.
All right, let's move on to Poland. Papers continuing to react to something that happened on Monday. It was a massive strike that we were reporting on here on France 24 as well, of course, against a proposal to totally ban abortions. And women, not just in Poland, but all around the world, have been sort of joining in with the sentiment on this.
That's absolutely. They called it Black Monday. A lot of